Thank you so much for spending your time with me today. This message is for the entire leadership in Nigerian state. Most importantly, the Vice President of Nigeria, Mr. Osubanjo. I want you to please take what I'm about to say to you right now very seriously. It's very, very important that you take heed to what I'm about to say, let you know, including the entire House of Representatives and the entire Senate. There is a nation called Israel, and that nation was once in a place called Egypt as slaves, but somebody was actually sent among them to go and rescue them, and that person's name was Moses. And I need you to understand that everything I'm saying right now could be found in the Bible, which is the holy book of most people that believes in God. As the vice president of that nation called Nigeria, I need you to understand that the information I'm sharing right now, you can personally be able to verify it, because I believe that you were a former minister, or you are still a minister, and also a former professor. You need to please take heed to what I'm about to let you know right now. Now, that country or that nation was called Israel, and because the Pharaoh refused to let those people go, God sent out a plague to that nation, and that nation at that time was a world superpower. They were thriving. Why were they thriving? They were thriving because they were eating from the sweat of the children of the Most High God. When they were taken out of Egypt on their way to the promised land, they had a blood covenant with God, and God took them as his own people. God gave them the 10 commandments. As a matter of fact, through them, any other person on this planet will be blessed according to God. In the covenant, God decided to put them above every other race and every other nation on the planet. Guess what? What happened? What happened was very simple. They disobeyed God, and they now not only they went down from where they were supposed to be all over the world right now, but they also suffered a lot of curses that was placed on them by the Creator. Now, not only that, when they went back to their nation, another country or nation called the Babylonian came and took them for slavery when they disobeyed God again. God always used slavery to punish these particular people. Then the next people that took them for slavery when they disobeyed God in their idol worship, in their disobedience, in their stubbornness, even though God has blessed them with intelligence, with wealth, with opportunity, with land that fills with milk and honey, called Israel. Babylonians took them the second time. Now the third time, the Persians took them again and slaved them. The fourth time, the Grecians took them for slavery. The fifth time, the Roman took them for slavery. The Roman was the last time they saw their land, because God told them, because you are not taking heed of worshiping me and keeping my commandment with you, you will never see your land again. Then they left that land and they ran to Egypt, because Egypt was the safest place they could run to, because they were being chased by the Westerners, present day Westerners, but then they were the Romans. Guess what? The Messiah came through their tribe. King Solomon came through their tribe. King David came through their tribe. All God's prophets came through the same tribe. And this tribe were known as the Hebrew Israelites. They were the 12 sons of Jacob, which is actually what made up the entire nation of Israel. These individuals, God said, whoever cursed them, I will curse. Whoever blessed them, I will bless. This nation went to Africa, and the Romans chased them close to Egypt, and they had to go down to West Africa, which is south of the west end of Africa. Guess what? Some of them went to South Africa and also were in the South Africa till date. Now, the same Romans, their descendants, these people called the Edomites, they found out that they are still existing. Not only they're thriving in West African region. They now came down to West Africa and colonized them and took them for slavery. Now that slavery was also the curse God placed on them, because God blessed them, like I told you. They are his jewel. Jeremiah once asked God in the Bible, is Israel only here to be slaved by other people? Is Israel only here to build other people's nation? Is Israel only here to build civilization on the planet? God said to Jeremiah, the reason I am punishing them is because I made a covenant with them. I never made a covenant with any other person. But at the end, I'm going to show my mercy. At the end, I'm going to have my 1,000 years millennium. When Christ comes back, they are going to be the king and priests, because they are the descendant of the promise. These same individuals, as I speak to you right now, Nigerian government is killing and shooting them secretly, openly. Nigerian government is stealing their resources. Nigerian government is not giving them what they deserve. As a matter of fact, there is a lot of stealing going on in that government, that there is more money hidden in people's apartments than the people that owns the oil are dying of starvation. They do not even have enough clean water to have their daily living, or fish from their own water because of pollution. These individuals are called the Igbos, the Biafrans. They are the ancient biblical Israelites. God said, like I told you, whoever bless, I bless. Whoever curse you, I will curse. These people are blessing anywhere they go. People that were given only 20 pounds after the war, because God was not with them, they lost that war. And their time for mercy has not reached. That is why they lost that war. That war was not about their own hand. It was about the hand of God. Guess what? They came out and they were given only 20 pounds each. What happened with the 20 pounds? They over exceeded more than the people that stole their money, more than the people that cheated them out of their money and out of their sweat, more than the people that killed them and starved them to death. Right now, you are in a position to do something. You need to let people's God to go. They are the biblical Israelites. Those people are the reason why America is the greatest nation on earth, because they came to the US, built the White House, built everywhere, and made the living out of America, and America became the greatest nation on earth because they have the Israelites as slaves. But the reality is that every single country, including America, that enslaved these individuals, they are going to face doom when Messiah comes back. Their judgment is pending. Do not be part of this curse. Why? Because 2019 will complete the 400 years they started slavery in America, and that is the end of their slavery before Messiah will come, or before God will show mercy and give them freedom. Biafra, God has already sent somebody that is incorruptible. His name is Mazi Nnamdi Kanu. This individual is a blessed, appointed by the Most High, because his grace is upon his head. You need to understand that you cannot fight God. None of you, all of you there, cannot fight God. You can only do the will of God, or get consumed by his wrath or by his anger. All those nations that colonized and enslaved the people of Biafra, the people of ancient Israel, where are they today? The only one standing is America, and their doom is coming, because their 400 years will soon elapse. Remember, it was 1619 that they officially authorized slavery. 2019 is going to be the end of Biafrans, Africans that are struggling and suffering. Those people in America are the descendants of the Biafrans that you are holding their freedom right now. You need to use everything in your power, all the arsenal in your power, to ensure that a referendum is conducted legitimately. As a lawyer or as a man of God that believes in a due process, conduct a referendum. Stop using Nigerian selfish interests to make a decision on the future of a nation that was not destined to be together. You and I know the truth. That nation is not united. That nation do not serve one living God. You know the truth. You have to use your power to do the right thing right now, because if you do not do the right thing, the wrath of God is going to have to visit the entire nation. Remember that. You need to remember this, because you are messing with the children of the Most High God. This is beyond me and you or all of us as a nation. This is about listening and taking heed to the word that comes from the children of the Most High God. Most importantly, if you argue with me, there is a lot of books, a lot of online informations and research you can do and find out that the Igbos, the Biafrans, are the true biblical Israelite, Hebrew Israelite.
And I'd like to now bring up another interesting place that you're finding descendants of the Israelites, but may not necessarily be from the 10 tribes, but will also play a role. And it shouldn't be overlooked. It's a very serious scenario. Is in Africa. Africa has perhaps hundreds of millions of people with this identity right now of being from the people of Israel. Does that mean they were from the 10 tribes? Likely not. We were taught by the historians and within our own traditions that when the Romans conquered Judea, a few hundred years after that the tribes of Israel went into exile, perhaps millions of Judeans were sold into slavery. Into Africa, into Rome, deep into Africa. And if you look now, you're seeing people who are most likely the descendants of those slaves who kept true. I'd like to bring up a few specific examples because they're going to be game changers. One of them wrote letters to Israel when it became a state. And they said, we're Israelites out in Africa. You know, everyone laughed at them and they said, African Israelites, these people are just trying to jump on the first world country bandwagon. They're living in a third world country. They got nothing. We're coming to Israel. We got innovation, technology. So they're trying to get on this train because there's such a thing called the right of return. All descendants of the Jewish people from around the world are able to move to Israel. So they said we are also. And everyone kind of laughed at them, like I said. And a few people took it serious and went out there and started studying them, learned about their culture. And a professor from Duke University went out there and did DNA testing on them. And he showed not only do they share Semitic genes from people who were in Yemen and back to the Middle East, these gentlemen, a large percent of them, have the Y chromosome to be Kohanim, to be priests. Now, if anyone who doesn't know, a priest is a specific family clan of the nation of Israel who come from Aaron, the brother of Moses, who was the first priest. And anyone descended from Aaron has the status title priest. And we found that these men in this village in South Africa called Lemba, L-E-M-B-A, carry this genetic marker to let us know that they share the same as from the Sephardic and the Ashkenaz and the population of the people in Israel today. They share the same exact DNA marker. That's mind-blowing. So everyone kind of got humbled a little bit who laughed at them and said, now what? Now what do we do about this? This could have tremendous implications. Another area in Africa you have something big happening is in Nigeria. You have the Igbo people, or Igbo, pronounced either way. There's 40 million of them, also Christians, like I spoke about before, how that could happen to the children of Israel very easily. But also a lot of them are now coming out and converting back or adopting the rules of the Torah without all the paganism that they've been practicing for hundreds of years. There's been books written about it from scholars in Nigeria, from scholars from the Jewish people. And where it gets interesting is, in America, there was a slave trade. And a lot of the slaves, a very high percentage of them, came from Western Nigerian ports. And in America today, you see a very large movement of African Americans who say that they're the real chosen people, that they're the children of Israel, they're the Judeans. You know, so what are they just trying to create an identity for themselves because they were slaves, or is there really something here? And the answer is, most likely there is something there. And most likely, maybe that they were the original Israelites, and maybe that the Jewish people today who are white, Caucasian people came in a little bit later on. We know that some of the greatest sages of the transmission of the Torah were converts from Rome. You have a man named Onkelos who wrote a commentary on the Torah, unprecedented, that we still learn today. He was a convert. some of the largest pillars on the transmission today were Roman converts. So here we are, we're Caucasian Jewish people, and now you have people in Africa saying that they're the real people of Israel. It can't be ruled out at all. We know they were sold into slavery. We know now that they're fulfilling prophecies by saying, we're coming back.
Welcome back to the Holy Land Uncovered. I'm Jordana Miller. Every week we introduce you to some of the diverse and fascinating communities living here in Israel. Joining me in the studio to tell us about the community she met this week is Shelby Weiner. Shelby?
Well, normally we travel to different communities that are living here inside Israel, but this week is pretty special because it's a community largely living outside of the country, but they come here 3 times a year, so we met up with them for one of their rituals. They're called Beit Israel. You're going to have to just see it for yourself. Let's take a look.
When the cabbage came, the Geshem came. When the cabbage came, the Geshem came. The children of Israel have found Mount Zion.
Spread out through the Americas, the followers of Yah, or Beit Israel, are a branch of the African Hebrew Israelites. They believe they are the true descendants of the ancient Israelite people.
We're not Christians, we're not Muslims, we're not Jews, we're Israelites. We are the link between the Most High, the Creator, and the rest of mankind. That's what we believe in.
The group believes their forefathers were uprooted from the Holy Land after breaking the law of commandments. However, their story of slavery and exodus brought them far from the land of Egypt.
By way of transatlantic slave trade, my family was taken to the eastern part of America and was in captivity in Mississippi. My Abba wa Amma are actually from Arad. Our fathers are from here. Our mothers are from here, from the transatlantic slave trade.
Captivity is a large part of their identity. They believe only the slaves taken from Africa are a part of this biblical lineage.
So-called blacks in America, they known as the children of slave. The so-called blacks in the Caribbean, they know the children of slave. So even if I should go to an Ethiopian now and say, he go and say, no, I'm not I was never a slave.
And in their eyes, the oppression is not over yet. The story of Exodus has only just begun.
We've gone through a slavery period and still going through it mentally. We're the poorest of the poor on this earth. We don't have any real collateral. We don't have a culture. We don't have a language. All that's been taken away from us. Upon slavery, not only was we stripped of our heritage and our nationality, but we were also stripped of the apparel that we used to wear. So Hashem, or how we would say Yahweh, told the children of Israel to wear priestly garments and to wear what's scriptures. The Most High says that he will destroy all those in strange apparel. And what this means is that Israelites have to come back to our nationality, heritage, and culture. We can't dress like no more. We can't dress like coons or African Americans. We have to dress like our culture.
The followers of Yah believe in order to return to their forefathers' homeland, they must go back to their roots. The faith is bringing back their biblical culture by precisely following the Old Testament.
We live according to the Torah. We keep the laws, the statutes, and the commandments of what the pronunciation of we speak in Paleo-Hebrew, we say Yahweh. So, and with the son, we say Yahweh Shah. Shalom Amak. So what we do is we live according to the customs of our forefathers before slavery.
We joined the followers at Tel Arad for the holiday of Passover. They believe this location in the south is the true Jerusalem. Here they carry out rituals exactly as they are described in the Bible.
The true children of Israel must come back to Zion for the 3 major feasts. So it's the time of the Passover now, so we come back here for the Passover feast. In the feast of Passover, we kill a lamb, we collect the blood, and we do as it is written in scripture, as we're told to do. We're trying to be obedient children now, and to use the blood on the doorposts, eat the lamb, while standing with our staff in our hand and our stomachs girdled, and eat in haste. We do everything exactly to the letter.
With every ritual they carry out in Tel Arad, Beit Israel believes they are getting one step closer to returning peace to the Holy Land and the world.
Joining me to talk more about this is Shelby. Shelby, did you actually stay and see that lamb get, we would say in Hebrew, shechted, but sacrificed?
Yes, we stayed for the sacrifice, and they took it very seriously. It's a very intense moment. They're trying very hard to accurately live to exactly what the Bible says. So they slaughter the lamb, keeping with the laws of kosher, and then they collect the blood in a basin underneath while the lamb hangs upside down.
Wow.
And then they take that blood and put it on the doorposts, just like in the story of Passover that we know in the Jewish religion as well. And afterwards, they then skin the lamb and eat it as part of this ceremonial ritual. But they try very hard to keep the animals' respects in mind. So before they begin the process of skinning the meat, they wait until the tongue falls out of the mouth, because that's a sign that it's completely dead. And during that waiting process, members of the community sang songs to try and give this sheep a peaceful journey onto the next life. They really honored it, and they fed it and treated it like its family up until the moment they slaughtered it.
Now, do we know why this community doesn't see as a goal moving and living in the land of Israel, if they seem to follow so many of the other traditions?
They eventually see the goal as living in Israel, but they think right now they're in an awakening process. The belief is that the culture, the DNA of being an Israelite is still within them. It's in their blood. And right now it's reawakening, and they're slowly starting this process of getting back the culture, speaking this language, Paleo-Hebrew, and working to bring that back into their everyday lives and spread it through the rest of the community that they also believe is Israelite. And then eventually, once they've all gathered together, they'll be able to come back to Mount Zion, which to them isn't the Mount Zion you and I know. It's in the south. And
Telerad, right?
Exactly.
And what's the difference between this group and the Black Hebrews, the African American Hebrews?
They're very similar, but they have a little bit of a different story coming here. And like in any religion, you have different offshoots, slightly different beliefs, and it's just a different branch within that religion.
And they come from all over the world, except mostly the United States.
Mostly the United States and also the Caribbean, basically areas that saw slave trade. So places that slaves were bought from Africa to is where they believe their community is based, and that's where we see people now. And they have a government system, they have organized groups in these different countries.
And the community, I'm assuming, stays within itself, they marry other members of the community, and not members outside.
That is what's typical within the community, but it's a very small group. Only about 100 people came for this ceremony, so I think they have a little bit more room to grow.
Great. Thank you so much, Shelby. Interesting, very. Okay, we're going to take a quick break, but stay with us for more here on the Holy Land Uncovered.
Those that curse you, I will curse. Those that bless you, I will bless. Do not forget that. Do the right thing. If God be for Israelites, no one. Remember, God gave them the act of covenant that they used and walked through the land of fences of Jericho in the Bible, with Joshua being the leader. And Jericho stumbled after they went through the Jericho, around the Jericho for 7 times in a row. He went down. Remember that. God fights for the people that you are holding. Nobody can defeat that nation. That nation was designed to be the king and princess when the Messiah arrived. That nation is the God's jewel. The 12 gates of heaven bears the name of the 12 tribes of Israel. You cannot, I repeat, you cannot not do something about the opportunity you have right now. Let Biafrans go and take heed to the word of the Most High God. Shalom.
Mr. Pro, I'm doing it.
Moko on the beat.
Listen, I can see my people. My yes, I can see my face. can see my people.
Welcome to Forstview Luxury Hotel. At Forstview Luxury Hotel, we offer excellent service. Our rooms have all the necessary facilities to make your stay comfortable and memorable. You will also have access to internet service, breakfast, 24-hour power supply, full air condition, free international calls, free tire pumping service, and free car battery charge. So what are you waiting for? Quickly visit Forstview Luxury Hotel. We are located at number 1 Adeline Mishile off Raji Rasaki Road, First Estate, Amuwo, Odofin Festac, Lagos. For more information or reservation, please call us on 080-7578-7135 or 080-9990-0601. You can also take advantage of our online ongoing promo at www.forceviewhotel.com to make your reservation and payment for your favorite room, which attracts a discount rate. Please note, rooms are reserved based on first come, first serve. Forstview Luxury Hotel. Experience the home of comfort. They come.